Hello, it's Laura Gathers with Love, Heart, and Marriage Coaching, bringing you wisdom for wives in 5. This is where we take 5 minutes or less and dig into the Word of God, searching for nuggets that we can apply to our lives as wives. For the month of February, we have been looking into the book of Ruth. And today we are going to talk about how Ruth displayed the big P word. That's right, patience, the word that we all love so much. We are going to talk about how her patience allowed her to change history. Can you believe that? Don't you want to be able to say that you displayed patience and it allowed you to change history if no one else's? Yours. So, the first instance in which we can look at was when Ruth had to convince her mother in law to allow her to return back home with her after her husband had died. Ruth said to Naomi, "I'm not leaving you." Now, her other daughter-in-law, Orpah, said the same thing. But Ruth said, "Look, I'm too old. No more sons are coming from my womb. Go back home to your people." So Orpah said, "Deuces, all right. I'm going back home to my people." But Ruth said, "No, your people are going to be my people. Your God is going to be my God. Where you lay, where you lodge, that's where I'm going to lodge. And where you die, go ahead and get me a headstone next to you because that's where I'm going to die." And she convinced her mother-in-law that I'm going with you. And that patience that it took to convince Naomi was the first step in her being able to obtain the life that God has for her. The next step was when she had to convince Boaz to marry her. She had to wait. Well, she didn't really have to convince him. She had to wait for the process to take place in order for him to marry her. So she goes in chapter 3 and she lies at his feet and she tells him, "Look, I want to be your wife." And he says, "There's someone closer to you than me within our family," and he gets first dibs. Now, at that point, she could have been like, "What? You don't want me? I'm not good enough for you? You just going to toss me to the next man available?" No. She followed his instructions. She took the grain that he offered her back home to her mother-in-law, and she sat there and she waited for him to work the process. And you know what happened? She got her man. She married him. And that allowed her another opportunity to change history because it was through her lineage that Jesus Christ was born. It is through her lineage that we're able to get salvation. How awesome is that? That she didn't allow whatever insecurities that could have been lying within her because she's already lost her husband. And the first time she opens up her heart to another man, he's like, "Hey, wait, I got to see if somebody else wants you first." She could have been like, "Oh, I'm not beautiful enough. He doesn't think I'm smart enough. He doesn't really want to marry me. He's just trying to be kind." No, she didn't allow pity and self-doubt and all those things to enter into her heart. She was like, "Hey, all right. I'll allow the process to take place." And that's where we have to get to that point where we're patient, where we're consistent. When our husband says, "No, honey, we can't do that this week, but maybe next month." And we say, "Okay, honey, now look, why can't we do it?" "Well, all right then, I guess so." And so we wait and we remind him every day how upset we are about waiting until next month to do what it is that we desire to do. When we can say, "Okay, honey, I understand." And we continue to love them, and we continue to serve them, and we continue to be kind towards them, and we don't remind them of how upset we are that we have to wait, even if we are. Our actions remain the same. That's patience, consistently remaining the same while you wait. So I have to ask you, what do you need to work on? Do you need to work on that patience? Do you have patience? Or do you need to ask the Lord to help develop you in that area so that you too can change history, change your history, where you're not just giving in to impulses, where you're not wasting your time, but that you are developing in that trust that the Lord is going to give you the desires of your heart. Whether it's waiting for your husband's character traits to change, whether it's waiting for you to be able to purchase a new item, whether it's waiting for you to get the job that you believe the Lord has for you, you developing in patience is going to allow you to inherit all that the Lord has for you and change your history. So I pray that we all would work on developing in patience. I hope that this has blessed you as much as it has blessed me. Thank you for joining me for Wisdom for Wives and Five. Be blessed.